podcast, just allowing for more people to come in. Do let me know if the audio is okay on your end, and we can begin in a bit. If you've never been to this session before, you are currently in Get Inspired and Speak Up, which is my Friday night session with the SocietyX. If you've never been here before, please do introduce yourself if you feel like you want to do so. I am Phynne-Belle. I am your presenter for today. I am a co-director with the Poetry Global Network, which is based in Suffolk in the UK. But I'm from the Bay Area, and I am a Bay Area poet, podcaster, and blogger. I'm also the organizer for Phynne-Cabulary, which is a platform that brings programs that are associated with writing and poetry and literary events. So thank you so much for letting me know that you can hear me. Let us see. It is 3 after the hour. Let me see if anybody else has snuck in. So we'll maybe start 5 after the hour, and we'll readily catch up. I normally, what I do for the session, if you've never been here before, I like to set up a poll in the beginning. This poll helps me to organize what my lesson is for upcoming weeks of the class. This time around, I do not have a poll. I do definitely have some optional homework. And then aside from the optional homework that I normally give every week, I am going to assign another optional homework, which is kind of like a pop-up assignment or homework, because I feel that we have gone almost a full year minus some change of our lessons, and we are ready to explore the next step. So I'm going to get right into the lesson. I gave my introduction. I'm Phynne-Belle again. So let me tell you a little bit more about the class. For each of these sessions, I would like us to concentrate our energies on some very effective skills that get us right into the thick of writing. Please remember that these things that you write here in this session could be first drafts to a piece that is later shared out in public, perhaps in a public venue like an open mic, or could be published in literary journals, or your own book that you are putting together, or even in an anthology. Those are always possibilities. If this is something that you're already well versed in, there's always something that additional that could be learned. This is also your space where I would like you to develop and strengthen your spoken word poetry and your knack for storytelling, both in the written sense and spoken. So usually what a session would go like is, first, I will be giving you the initial spark for your writing. And that involves giving you 5 prompts in rapid succession. Next up, I'd like us to engage in what I like to call quick writing sprints. This is where you free write for a very short period of time, a sprint. And then you do not pause to make any edits whatsoever. So if you have a very pesky inner editor, make sure to turn that off for the whole session, because we're not going to do any editing in here. We're going to be doing a lot of free writing in the moment, listening to your first instinct, listening to your stream of consciousness. Finally, if we have time at the very end of the sessions, I do very heartily encourage you to come up to join me on the live and perhaps share a piece if you feel so inclined to do so, if you feel brave, because that is the second part of this. I like for us to engage in writing, but I also like us to be comfortable with sharing and developing our storytelling skill out loud. So for this session, I was thinking of changing it up just a tiny bit from our normal format. Instead of writing 5 prompts in succession, we are going to instead concentrate on 3 to 4 prompts, time permitting again, and allow for a longer period to write and explore each prompt. So again, I will present the prompt. I want you to take a moment to digest it and then automatically just go ahead and write to it without any editing. When we have completed all 5 prompts, and if time allows, please look at the side of your screen. You could see that there are a few different icons, including chat, and at the very bottom, if yours is in the same orientation as mine, speak, where it's a hand raise button. That is the button that you hit when at the very end of the session, if you wanted to take a moment to share with the class a bit of what you've written. So how that goes is you click on the icon. I will accept your request to be on the live with me. That takes a tiny bit of time, so don't get antsy. Don't believe that you got kicked off. You didn't get kicked off. It's just going to be testing your mic setup, and then it's going to put you back into the session live with me. I hope that makes sense. So before we begin any class, I'm going to remind you to turn off your inner critic, turn off any judgment of the work that is shared here, most especially yours, because that inner editor is going to sit outside of the session and wait patiently for you until you're done with your free writing. We are here in this session to encourage each other, uplift, give positive and useful feedback. So I'd like you to join me and take a deep cleansing breath. 1 deep cleansing breath. In through your nose, hold it for 6 seconds, and breathe it out slowly through your mouth. Okay, let us go. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it for just 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Blow it out in a long relax your shoulders. Let's get into that writing. Do I send in the chat everything that I've written? I would welcome that as well. If you want to do that, you may do that. If you wanted to include snippets of what you've written, that is completely welcome. And I don't know if you could save the chat. I think there might be an option to do that. I've never seen or had anybody ask to do that. But please do. I'd love to see what you've written. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Yeah, no problem. Leave whenever is convenient for you. So we're going to start with a warm-up. The quick warm-up is going to be about 8 minutes for you to write. So please, I would like you to think about a startling discovery that you had made during any period in your life. And I'd like you to free write to it. I'm sorry, this is the warm-up is just 3 minutes. For the warm-up, I'd like you to think about a startling discovery that you made during any period of your life. And I'd like you to free write to it. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes on the clock. That begins now. I will put that warm-up in the chat. 3 minutes begins now. We have about half a minute left on the clock. So begin wrapping up the warm-up exercise. Okay, so that concludes our warm-up. And from the warm-up, we will move right into our first prompt. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that loosened up your thinking process and your creativity a little bit, so we can move right into the first official prompt. So prompt number 1, I would like you to concoct a recipe of hope. Concoct a recipe of hope. So I've provided you with the first 3 ingredients for this recipe. And so to start off with, your ingredients for this recipe of hope are rose oil, the bark from a birch tree, and a vial of chamomile and peppercorn. The ingredients, again, are rose oil, the bark from a birch tree, and a vial of chamomile and peppercorn. So I'd like you to concoct a recipe of hope. I'm going to give you a good 8 minutes to write to that. I'm going to read, Giselle, your what you wrote. And so let's go ahead and start to that right now. 8 minutes on the clock. I'll start that now. I will put the prompt in the chat. And a half left on this prompt. So go ahead and finish writing down some last few sentences, and we will move on to the optional homework and to prompt number 3, or officially prompt number 2. And if you can't stay for that, write as much as you can. And when you are done, don't worry about having to give any preamble of like goodbye or formal goodbyes. If you leave the class, I will see that you've left the class. And I will just wish you a happy rest of the weekend. Please get some writing in during the weekend. Email me. I put my email in the chat if you want to discuss anything that you wrote, if you have any more questions for me, or are looking for resources. Because as you know, as part of this class is that I like to encourage you guys to build that muscle of storytelling. And one good way to do that is to go to open mics, even ones online. And that's currently what I'm doing. So I think it's a really good resource. It builds up your confidence. It builds up your storytelling skill because you get better each time that you are able to share publicly with people. So that concludes our time for our prompt. My timer is about to go off. There we go. And so I really love that prompt. I hope you did too. Did you want to, before you leave, Giselle, if you have time, you could tell me no in the chat. Did you want to come up to the live and read that out loud, the first one or the second one that you wrote? I'm happy to read it for you, just silently, while I talk to you about the assignment. So we're going to get back to what you wrote for that next prompt, but we're going to go right into the assignment. Before you leave, I wanted to tell you about the assignment. Again, I said it's optional. This is something that you could work on so you can further practice and stretch your writing muscle. We have, as writers, we want to have a daily practice of writing, at least a little bit, even if we're jotting down a few lines, we're jotting down a list poem, or just even jotting down the remnants of what happened in our dream, what we could remember of our dreams. So for the homework, on a previous session, the assignment that I had given you was to go more in depth in the observation of yourself. I wanted you to observe yourself, look in a mirror, observe what you see, but also observe your own reaction to seeing yourself fully in the mirror and studying each part of your face, your hair, little marks that you have, birthmarks you have, beauty marks on your face. But this week, I want you to concentrate on others. So you're going outside of yourself and you're concentrating on other. And this other would be someone you believe that you know well, a family member or a friend. So I want you to find a person that you get along with, that you can have a conversation with. Ask them to relay a memorable story to you about their life, or tell you about a pursuit that they are passionate about. In addition to taking notes about the things that this person tells you, I want you to take in the entirety of the picture, the whole picture of them relaying these things to you. So just like your observation of yourself, I want you to pay attention to gestures, to expressions, and try to include these in your notes while you're doing, because you're doing note taking at first. So please write about everything you observe, no matter how tiny. Please write your own afterthoughts and impressions alongside these things that you observed. And please free write for a few moments or make a list of the things that you noticed. From all this material that you gathered, I would like you to write a short story or a poem about the experience of tuning in more attentively or listening to that person's stories, their reactions, and your own response to the atmosphere or situation. I'm going to put that right now in the chat. I'd like you to, copy and paste it if you want to, so you'll know all the little elements of what the homework is supposed to be about. Again, if you don't capture that, feel free to email me and I'll send you that. And if you have any questions about it, always feel that you can, contact me and talk more about it. Oh, wonderful. Another resource too, better actually than email, if you have either Facebook Messenger or you have Instagram, that's a really quick way to, to capture me in the moment. I will put that in the chat as well. So my Instagram my handle is @Phynne-Belle. And you can DM me. DM me if you have any questions about anything poetry related. And for Facebook Messenger, it is Trisha Gutierrez. And I am pretty prompt, more so than emails, answering those messages. So please go ahead and do that. If you want, I can give you the last prompt before you leave, or you have the option of reading before you leave. Would you like to read the piece that you just posted into the chat? If you want to do that, go ahead and hit the speak button, and I will let you come on live with me. I'll give you a few moments to think about that. Can I read out of my story of hope? Please, yes. Do you want to go ahead and read it out loud? You can do that. Just hit the speak icon. Wonderful. I'm letting you on right now, so hang tight. Step out of the comfort of the four wall. Breathe in the aroma of the rose oil yolk. Beautiful. I like that. That's nice. Very nice start. You okay, Papa? Burrito of Love Learnets.
Hello?
Hi there. How are you doing?
Hi there.
Hi. I was reading it while you were logging back, where you're coming into the room. And I really love it. It has a sense of a sort of like incantation or spell to it. I like that you incorporated all of the elements to it. So go ahead and read it out loud. I'd love to hear you read it in your own voice.
Yeah, as I was writing it, I was trying to picture myself like in the moment. And I find that helps me with when I'm writing, is to actually not just write, but actually see myself there.
That's a great technique.
Okay, how do I find the
up top, if you wanted to turn on your camera, it's up to you. But I can hear your audio perfectly.
Yeah, I'll turn my camera. I'm trying to figure out how to.
Yeah.
On my end, I can't find the chat.
This is a reminder.
Oh, the chat should be to your right side. I don't know if you have it enabled to show up alongside, but there should be a setup to, for it to show up.
It's on the right side, but everything on my end is blank.
Oh no. Okay. Oh, because you stepped out.
I think so.
Okay, so let me recopy that, and I'm going to post it for you again so you can read it.
And I will turn on my camera.
Beautiful.
Kind of nervous.
Here we go again. Oh, lovely. Okay. Before you do that, and if you have time before you leave, give me a little bit of your writing background thus far.
Yeah, so I love writing. I've been writing since I was in high school. I'm currently a junior in college.
Great.
And yeah, I just enjoy writing. It's one of my passions. I have a little journal where I just write down little short stories.
Nice.
And I've been collecting them, writing short stories since I was like in high school. And thinking about
are you
possibly
planning on?
minoring in
Okay, good.
English.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Are you
Yeah.
planning to submit in the following year, in the coming year? Have you submitted already? I'm not making any assumptions. Have you submitted to journals already? Are you planning? Is there a end plan to your writing aside from majoring in English?
I want to get better at writing.
Okay.
Because for me, I'm good at writing like a lot of fantasy writings.
Okay.
Like I sometimes struggle with when I'm writing my essays and stuff, like trying to make
See.
everything sound like nice so when the professors read it. So, because I don't really enjoy writing like, I guess like essays style.
I see.
So
Yeah.
well, not
Are
that,
you
but just also
are you a
writing
fan
in
of
general.
flash fiction or
Flash fiction?
flash fiction? Yeah. Do you do
What's
flash
that?
fiction? So it is fiction. You know, it has all the elements of fiction, but it is in the form of anywhere from 200 to 500 words. It's very short. So you have to tell basically a story. I don't know if you've ever heard of those 6-word stories, you know, like basically the famous thing that Ernest Hemingway did where, you know, baby shoes sold, you know, it was just in 6 words, but it was a full story. This is in the matter of doing 200 to 500 words, of doing flash fiction, and you'll find it very satisfying because you can. It's both challenging enough to put a entire story in, but you have to do it in the constraints of you know, a smaller amount of words. You don't get a whole, even a novella, which is, you know, a certain amount of words. So the reason why I asked that is because a good way to continue working on your writing muscle. I am holding a contest right now, a writing contest. So if you're interested, again, you know, message me. But let's get right into your
Okay.
your piece that you wrote.
Yes. Okay. So step out of the comfort of the 4 walls. Breathe in the aroma of rose oil that you have created for yourself. Allow the lingering scent to give you hope. Once you step outside, you make your way toward the birch tree that stands in your front yard. The morning sun meets your eyes as you take out your vial of chamomile mixed with peppercorn. Breathing deeply, you sprinkle some on your wrists and rub them together.
Beautiful. That's very sensory, and you, like you said, you very much put yourself. You have a strength in putting yourself in the moment and in the situation.
Yeah, I was
Where
trying to read it also like kind of peacefully,
mm-hmm.
trying to make my voice, I guess, sound like
Yes,
peaceful because I feel like it's
that's
almost like poetic.
it very much is, and yeah. So, you know, I advise you to, you know, look at it now. You know, take it in for a bit, set it aside. If you have a notebook that's for, you know, all of your workshop writings that you eventually go back to, I'd love to see this as a more expanded piece. If you should feel that you want to take it further and take us along on what else you add to that ingredient. It's almost like a meditative walk. It's almost like you're taking this walk where you are going on a meditation journey. You're allowing yourself to, you know, hypothetically, you know, smell the roses, to truly smell the roses and go through each piece. And I'd like to see you, as an exercise, should you decide to do it, to try to continue that pace, a very, very sedate pace. You started very, you know, with this, the way that you said it, the way that you shared it, it has a sense of you have to read it very slowly and meditatively. And I'd like you to sustain that and continue that if you can. I'd love for you to work on it, continue working on it. If you do attend again, and I'd love to see an expanded version, only if you decide to do that. Which reminds me, the pop-up assignment number 2 is that we are, well, this is probably one of the first class. I'm assuming this is the first class you attended with me, but
yeah, it's my first one.
We're at the halfway point of
Okay.
since this began, and at this point, I'm encouraging the students to, if they haven't already, try looking for a venue that's local to them. If you have any poetry reading salons that happen near you, any open mics that are live. If that's a little overwhelming and you've never done it before, there are a lot of online options that are very supportive, very small. I have a link tree that lists all of them. If you're ever looking for them, reach out to me and I will let you know what's going on in the moment. If you want to start small, I could tell you which ones those are. And you'll find a very supportive group that would love to listen to. And they always give positive and constructive feedback to what you write. But more importantly, they don't really, there are places where you can go that give really detailed instruction or feedback on the way you write. What I like about these is that they like to talk about the story itself. So they encourage you about the story. So it's a very nurturing environment for a budding writer or somebody who is beginning their journey writing. So yeah. But
yeah,
thank you so much, Giselle. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, Giselle.
Giselle. And I hope to see you at a future event. As you know, you could sign up either through SocietyX or through Eventbrite. And yeah, it's weekly, so
Yes.
I hope to see you at a future one.
Thank
Have
you.
a good rest of your weekend.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
And I also took a picture of your social medias.
Lovely.
So
Thank you.
like
Yeah, please
Instagram. So I may message you.
Do reach out. I would love for that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Take
Have a good
care.
weekend.
All right,
Bye.
you
See you next
too.
time.
Bye-bye.
How do I leave the
Oh, let me
thing?
see if I can do that for you. There you go. All right, that concludes our class. Thank you so much for the students who shared. I hope to see you back again next week. It's the same time. It's 7 p.m. every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. And you can sign up for this class and my Sunday class on both the SocietyX page as well as on Eventbrite under SocietyX's Eventbrite account. Everyone have a good weekend.